to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I want to welcome everybody here today because this is an exciting day where we're going to have our swearing in for the new board. The Board of Finance and Board of Education have already been sworn in. They took their seats a few weeks ago, right after the election. And so today we are doing now the Board of Selectmen, which happens to be the exact same people sitting at this table. So it makes it very convenient. So do you want to start with the board itself? Okay.
Yep, I'll do the board first.
Okay. So if each of you want to come out? Yeah, I think file out that
You want to sit
way.
in front?
Yeah, we're gonna have down front and center.
I guess, oh, yeah, I guess I'll come out with each of you. So I think I'm separate, right?
Yep, you're there, you're late.
Okay.
If you would please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or sincerely affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and the Charter of the Town of Madison, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of the Board of Selectmen to the best of your ability under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Yes.
All right, congratulations, thank you. And you've already signed it, we're all good.
Again, here we go again, right? Here we go again.
Yeah, I'm just noticed the camera did
The,
die.
the camera, sorry, the camera's off, Peggy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Let me see if I can fix it here.
I mean, you didn't get our big moment?
No,
No.
Do we have to do it again?
Well, it's not saying the visual word, it's saying something, somehow it's disconnected. All right, why don't we get this done and then I can restart or something? I don't know how to restart that. There's a link here.
Oh,
there we go.
now I can see you.
Okay.
You want us to redo the group hug or?
Yes,
Are you good
please.
with that?
I think we're okay. All right, Peggy, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or sincerely affirm that you will support the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and the Charter of the Town of Madison, so long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge according to law the duties of first selectwoman to the best of your ability under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay. Photo of all the board and then I'll get one with the family. if
And
that's
I'll take some and I'll make sure I get it over to Lee.
We're stuck, guys.
Right, just take.
We need a new one for the page, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Tell us where
That's
to
right,
look.
a new one.
Scooch closer
Are
together.
we looking at you first?
Closer together.
Sure. Look at
Okay,
me.
we're gonna figure first.
Right,
David,
ready?
we're coming to you next.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1,
We did it.
2, 3. All right.
David,
David.
David,
Second.
David, come on,
We'll
let's
have,
see.
See what you think.
we'll have Rita work from that.
Oh, we're not done.
Video. Oh, no.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good, thank you.
Can I get just one with you guys? Yeah. That's okay.
Want me to take it? I'll take it with all.
That's quite a badge you have.
It is. Town clerk badge.
Look at that.
Yeah.
There's your stuff too.
Yes.
That's
Very-
right.
Very attentive.
We're
To
nothing if
detail.
not attentive to detail. Here, don't squint, all the pictures are there, we squint.
All right.
Oh, everybody's smiling.
I got a couple.
Okay,
Okay.
Scott, it's great, I need something for the Christmas card, we're doing hockey straight, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
You do this?
Yeah, you gotta go find them. I'm just kidding, it's all right.
I did move it there.
Cut it off.
I'm gonna wear my fire nice jacket.
Thank you. You're all set?
Oh, right. All right, thank you.
Well, we're on it.
Hey, thanks for coming down.
Nancy.
Could be-
You can go now. All right, thank you. Yep. Huh? Yeah, we have a meeting now, unfortunately.
But I'm gonna have to prove that.
I know, yes, like, that's how it was last time, it was either morning, and they all went out to breakfast. Oh, yeah, and then you were like, all right, well. Okay, so. With that.
All in favor of ending the meeting? See you later, okay? Good night.
Thanks, honey. Okay, so moving on to first selectmen's update. So, seems kind of a little thing, but, so I'll do this quickly, but, I just wanted to, first of all, I just wanted to make a few statements before we start, but I'm very grateful and humbled by the trust people of Madison have placed in me to lead this government for the next 4 years. Since first taking office back in 2019, I strive to be a collaborative leader who works with and listens to everyone for the betterment of the town. And I look forward to working closely together with all our newly elected boards, members of the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, and the Board of Education to keep doing the work of the people. I want to congratulate Al Goldberg and his 9th time being elected.
Wow.
9th time to this board, and to Bruce Wilson, his 5th time being elected, and Scott Murphy on his 4th time being elected, and to Jen Gordon on your first election to the board. So congratulations. Our town is fortunate. We have a very experienced and seasoned team sitting here tonight to keep guiding us forward. I also want to say that you have my commitment that we will continue to stay on track with a plan for our future, making smart investments today rather than pushing them off to tomorrow. And over the next few weeks and months, this board will be focusing heavily on completing our strategic plan, making critical decisions to enable a wide range of community projects to move forward, and working to tackle major challenges like climate change and housing affordability. As always, we'll strive to maintain our strong value proposition to Madison taxpayers by delivering high-quality services and amenities in a fiscally responsible way, using prudent budgeting and long-term planning. And following on that, a few important updates tonight. First of all, we are excited that last week the town was assigned a AAA bond rating again from Moody's. We'll be pricing new issues in early December of about $40 million in bonds and short-term notes. This is part of our post-referendum funding plan. And the good news is the interest rates are reasonable. They'll probably be in the 3.5% to 4% range, about 1% higher than last year, but actually not as bad as we thought they were going to be. So we're starting to see rates coming down. So that's really good news. We also completed recently the installation of electric vehicle chargers that this board supported last year. We have 2 available now for public use at Memorial Town Hall and at the Senior Center. A 3rd for public use will be opening up at Stop and Shop in the Scranton Memorial lot, and we're just awaiting one part before they can actually get that up and running. And then there's one operating at the MPD, the police department, to assist with their vehicle. That will not be available for public access. The other thing is we've seen the welcome signs, which I have started to go up around town, which is great to see. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but there's overhead wires that are missing downtown on the north side of the street. So this is just, so the wires are gone now. And the poles were cut down, but not completely removed. And so with the expectation is all the poles will be down soon. They're cutting through a conduit. There's going to be 2 poles remaining that cannot be removed until we get those meter setups that I spoke about that are on backwater, but we were able to kind of re-engineer the project, so it has only isolated those 2 poles. So we will be at 98% removal within the next couple of weeks. So that was kind of exciting to hear. And I guess no one noticed it, including myself, and Rob told me that the wires were missing downtown, and I said, that's good to know.
Well, it gets dark so early.
It does, yeah.
Christmas lights.
So we are making some progress with that. So with that, then I'd like to open it up for any other selectmen comments.
What's going on with the camera?
Yeah, well, I lost you again, but I can hear you, so.
Okay, I think it's a connection issue. It's saying that it's, so I think it just might be an in and out, but at least people can hear what we're saying. So,
Yeah.
any selectmen comments?
I heard it was a very successful turkey trot this past weekend, so,
Oh, it was packed.
yeah, looked like a lot of people.
I heard the same too.
I was cooking.
It's like 800 people more than were expected.
Wow.
Yeah, I
I
think
heard a number like that.
by Friday, or I'm sorry, by Wednesday, I think they had like 3,500 people registered.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The day of the event had a lot of unexpected
Mhm.
additional people.
Right.
Well, and I heard also that the Santa visit was like 200 kids. So that
Yeah, that was
on Saturday.
on Saturday.
Downtown. So it's great to see people out enjoying town. So I guess with that, no other comments from board members, opening it up to any citizens' comments, any hands raised?
None.
Okay, all right, and I guess item number 7, I'd like to make a motion to Scott Murphy is acting first selectman.
I'll second that.
And this is something we have to do, routine. And they don't have a choice in the matter. But
Wasn't I just that over the weekend?
I don't understand why we do this, and then we also have to send that letter out, but I guess it's just so it's on record in case anything.
Yes.
And we couldn't do the appointment, so, any further discussion on that?
I gladly accept the responsibility. I come in and bother the staff, so.
Yeah, I saw
I
some
know.
candy was eaten.
I know.
From last week,
Wipe
so you just moved right in.
Wipe down your whiteboard.
So, with that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and moving on to item number 8, I would like to, make an amendment to the consent agenda. I think you got an email about it. I'd like to make a motion to approve an amended consent agenda by adding item, C, resignations, of Bob Donahue from the senior commission. Like a second. Oh, sorry. Okay, any further discussion? It's just Bob is now an elected official for the Board of Finance, so he technically, I don't know why we have to vote on this, because he can't serve, but per charter, but anyways. That was told to. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. So moving on to item number 9, update from the new elementary school building committee, and I know we've got Colliers as well as Graham Curtis, who's the chair, and Bill McMinn, I think, and Felicia Gulick, who has also been working on this project. So if you want to invite them up as panelists, and they're going to give us a quick update.
Spill on his boat.
Yeah, okay. All right, great. All right, well, with that, I think this was just to give us an update, and then the board will be taking action on some things at probably our next meeting. So they just wanted to give you an idea of what's coming down the road. So with that, I'll turn it over to Graham and the team.
Great. Thank you very much. Hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving weekend. I know I did. So I'm just going to give you a quick update. I know you have a packed agenda, so I don't want to spend too much time. First of all, on the design, architects have been working feverishly to finish the design, and it's completed. And we're just going through the process of getting the final sign-offs from the state, hopefully over the next 2 weeks, so we can go out to bid with the main package. Secondly, I just want to update you where we are with the budget. During the month of October, the consultants, the building committee was working very hard to get us back on budget. We came up with $1.8 million in reductions, value engineering that we were able to take and vote on. That did not reduce the number of classrooms and did not reduce the program. So with that, we basically are on budget and back on schedule. Additionally, in order to stay on schedule, due to some very long lead items in the industry, due to the supply chain problems, switchgear, pipe, mechanical equipment, things like that, we put out an early package about a month ago for those items. We opened those up a few weeks ago, basically under budget and satisfaction. And we'd like to, we'll be asking you at the next Board of Selectmen meeting on the 5th to approve that. The building committee voted to recommend award those three contracts, which total about $1.3 million, as I said, under budget. And this will enable us to hit the schedule for delivery. Some of these items are upwards of 12 months or more, and we need them much sooner in construction. And so that's the plan. We're not asking you for that tonight, but we will be asking you the next meeting, which I think is December 5th, and we'll need that so we can go to procure those items into construction. As of now, we're on schedule and on budget, and hopefully we get a favorable bidding market when we go out to bid in January, and we get positive bids that we can move forward to completing the project on schedule. So with that, that was a high level overview. Are there any questions?
No, maybe Graham, you could refresh everybody's memory on what on schedule actually means, the key dates. When we break ground, when we finish.
We break ground in spring. I mean, we're hoping to open the bids probably in February, 2 months of, verifying bids, bonding and insurance. And then we go to construction in the spring. And then we have a 15-month construction schedule. So we can be in September 2025. And that was basically the charge, what our original charge was. And hopefully, despite some bumps along the road, we'll be able to bring that in.
Great. So yeah, so next, the next meeting then will be voting to award contracts for certain equipment, right? That's
correct. Three contracts.
And then I would assume when you do your RFP and you select, then we would be hiring, winning bidders in February timeframe, right? Then
For the main package. There's the early package, which is those three types. So we've already opened those bids and we've got the recommended low bidders. And we'll be asking your approval to award those contracts or for you to sign those contracts. And then simultaneously, we'll be bidding out the other 20 odd packages, concrete, steel, site work for, opening. Hopefully we'll go out to bid mid-January, mid-December, opening them towards the end of January. And then we'll be recommending awards, afterwards for those packages.
Great. Sounds good to me. So good to see it moving along and staying on schedule. Let's keep our fingers crossed it can stay that way because it's obviously a tight window for all of this. So any other comments or questions? No? Great. Thank you.
Thanks, team.
Yeah, thanks for the update.
We love under budget, not schedule.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Fingers crossed. Okay.
Thank
you. Thanks, anybody.
Thank you, guys. So I guess with that, then we can move on to item number 10, which is discuss and take action to approve the proposed revisions to the local tax abatement and freeze program for certain elderly and or totally disabled homeowners. Can I get a second? Second. Okay. Well, actually, I was asking for a motion in a second.
So moved.
You think we know how to do this by now, right? So. Obviously, this has now we've had two different public, we had a public information session, and then we had a formal public hearing. And the public information session, I think, was well attended. We had a handful, people at the senior center asked a lot of questions. And then the public information session was thinly, I guess, attended, or the public hearing. But we did have a few members of the public on, and Austin gave his presentation, and that's been recorded for people. And I think pretty much universally the feedback has been positive, just a lot of questioning of people that want to understand how this is going to impact them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any desire to make any further changes, or do we just want to go ahead and adopt the ordinance?
Say we adopt the ordinance.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything at the meetings to cause me to say we have to rework this.
Was there anything alarming that you guys heard?
No, so I think we've given the presentation multiple times here, Board of Finance, twice to the public. We haven't heard any, negative feedback. It's all been pretty positive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's literally, we've had very, and I think we did promote it quite a bit, especially I think showing at the senior center that there was attendance and people were aware that this was going on. So, I mean, I'm comfortable voting.
Are you guys continuing to get more questions? Has it been sort of percolating since the information sessions, or has it been?
No,
no.
I haven't received anything.
I'm sure once the season kicks off, we will.
Of course.
But
Yeah, when we start meeting in February, when we start meeting with folks, every appointment will require an explanation of the new ordinance, but that's okay.
Yeah.
yeah, and they're gonna prepare, I think, a letter that will go out to everybody on the program with the explanation of all the changes. And then, maybe some sort of public outreach again about the program, so this might capture some more people, just through your senior center, channels of communication or whatever, reminding people there's changes now, they might want to look at it again or consider applying again, that kind of stuff we can do.
Anybody ask you a question about their own unique situation that you had difficulty answering in terms of the proposed reg? Something we might have overlooked or something that's murky?
So I think we tried to, address any oddball situations in the ordinance. We've been doing this long enough where we've seen pretty much every curveball that could be thrown at us. We tried to incorporate that. So, obviously there could be a situation that, is new.
We do have the appeal, which that's how we kind of learned about, some of the problems with the previous ordinance was through that appeals process. And so we were able to grant people, and then we fixed that with this. So if we see a recurring problem, I think like that again, we could always come back. The good thing is now we've got a really good, strong combined program. And so we could always tweak it if we feel like we're missing a group or something this time around. It's much more manageable, whereas before it was just trying to put the two together was the struggle, So with that, then I guess, all in favor of approving the proposed revisions to local tax abatement and freeze program for certain elderly and totally disabled homeowners, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously, and this will go into effect 15 days after today. So that means that this will apply for the new application period that starts in February. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been a long process. A lot of work there, guys.
A lot of hard work, guys.
Yeah.
Staff, once again, really did a lot of heavy lifting on this. With Austin and Heather and Marietta, tax collector, Stacy Nobitz, and it was a full, long effort. So thank you with that, and I'm excited to see this move forward. So great. All right, good. Moving on to item number 11. Discuss and take action to award a contract between Silver Petroselli and Associates and the town of Madison for design services at Daniel Hand High School for rooftop replacement in the amount of $45,800, and to authorize the first selectman to sign all necessary contracts and documents budgeted fiscal year 23-24 CIP.
So moved. Second.
Any further questions? This is the, unfortunately, the failing units that we had to prioritize at CIP that to move this project forward. At Daniel Hand. So they're reaching 20 years and they've had a lot of problems. Any further questions on this?
No.
No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great, okay, so that passes, Bill. Next one is item number 12, discuss and take action to award a contract between BL companies for Polson improvements for the following scope of services: auditorium upgrades, $170,000, electrical power and distribution upgrades, $135,000, and the HVAC modernization, $630,000, for a total amount of $935,000 for Polson Design Services, and to authorize the first selectman to sign all necessary contracts and documents budgeted fiscal year 23-24.
So moved.
Second? Okay, actually, we say it was budgeted, it's really, this was part of the referendum, so.
Yep.
Any further questions? Bill is on the line, if we have questions about this. No?
No questions. I am going to observe that, consistent with my prior statements, I think it's a mistake to invest in traditional HVAC equipment in a renovation of this scope and magnitude, and especially with the other work scheduled to go on in the grounds. And I'm particularly struck that the working draft of our strategic plan repeatedly talks about sustainability and investing in the future. And in this, which I expect will pass, and this project will go as discussed, we're committing the town to at least another 15 or 20 years of fossil fuel use. And so it is difficult for me to support that and support the strategic plan at the same time. I think that that our commitment to the strategic plan is going to be evidenced by the decisions we make, and this one seems to be in direct conflict of that.
Understood. I know we've had a lot of discussion about that, so, any further comments from the board? You know, just for the public's record, there was an extensive discussion of why I think many of us felt that even though we would have preferred to go in different directions, that this project didn't really necessarily warrant that kind of investment for various reasons. So, but understand, here's your point. Any further comments? No? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. No?
I am going to abstain. I don't object to the other things. I certainly
Right.
don't object to the contractor.
Right.
So I
Okay.
think I'll abstain from the vote.
So 4 yeas and 1 abstention. Passes. Okay, great. Item number 13, discuss and take action to approve a bid waiver for the Public Works Department to expend funds for the removal of brush and log from the town's disposal facility. The Good Earth Tree is the sole source provider in the state of Connecticut contract 23 PSX 0100.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Maybe we kind of bid off of the state bid contract all the time. I don't know why this was taken to a vote, but it was on the agenda. So, any questions, further questions on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 14 is discuss and take action to enter into a contract with the Good Earth Tree Care Inc. and the town of Madison for removal of brush logs from the town's disposal facility in the amount of $19,754.10, budgeted for fiscal year 23.
So moved.
Second. Okay, any further discussion?
Just a simple question. We're getting rid of it. Should we be concerned or interested in where it's going from here?
From the Good Earth, like where are they bringing it to?
Yeah. Wait, what, are we contributing to somebody else's problem and solving our own?
I mean, we do this every year. We clear out all the brush and logs and then.
Oh, no, yeah, we've done this forever,
Yeah.
and we've done more of it when we have big storms.
Right.
So
Right.
this is not but the question struck me.
Yeah,
Should we be concerned about where our waste is going?
so I think that, and I don't know if John can answer that question, but I
Yeah,
will say.
I can.
Okay, go ahead, John.
So you mentioned, Peggy, we do this just pretty much every year. That's what the function of the transfer station is. We bring material into our transfer facility, and everything that comes in needs to eventually go out. So it's a collection place for residents and the town to bring brush into the facility. It has to be emptied out. And everything is done. The company that is going to take this material and dispose of it, I think it's a manifest, I think is the term, but there's a paper trail of where the material goes. And actually it's really just wood and brush. So it's recycled typically is what happens with the material. It's ground and made into essentially sort of imitation bark mulch. But yeah, the town's been doing this for years, and just every municipality does this practically.
So, but you raise an important point, because I think this is something we will be talking about in 2024 is waste problem more broadly.
Mhm.
And knowing where our waste goes, we're having a lot of discussions with Guilford about that, because the state is basically going to be all of our waste now, when I talk about waste, not this kind of waste, this is organic material waste, is pretty much ships it out of state. And it's going to end up getting super expensive because we're closing a few facilities down in the state that takes care of this stuff. And that's one of the reasons we were doing the food waste diversion program, was to try to reduce the amount of stuff that we're paying to ship out of state by getting the food waste out. And I actually was able to tour try and encourage board members if they want to do. The facility that takes that food waste and turns it into energy, which is up near Southington. But I think though, we're gonna also be talking about our procurement policies this year, and we've talked about trying to put some values behind that, and to your point, even with the geothermal and, so I think it's an important discussion, like knowing who we're buying from, where these things go. I think it's an important thing that we should be more aware of and have some policies around.
Yeah, just responsible decisions. I think it's, I agree.
So, but yeah,
It's good to know we'll get the chance to buy our material back at $30 a yard.
Well, and we also, I know that there's also like, we're licensed to only have a transfer station too, right, John? There's like different, you have to get licenses for different steps of the process and.
Yes, correct. It's not a landfill, so anything that comes into the facility needs to go out. It's really a transfer station. It was a landfill
I remember
many
those
years
days.
ago.
Get down with it.
Yeah.
Can we ever, I mean, this is gonna sound like a rookie question, can we ever burn this stuff?
No,
Are we able to?
no, we're not able to, there's all kinds of.
I guess there was burning done years ago before I got here. We've never done any burning as far as I know since I've been with the town for the last 15 years.
I don't think you're allowed to now because of the pollution and regulation and all that stuff. And Sam would probably speak to that, because people try to do this in regards.
Yeah, well,
It's
yeah.
supposed to be a permanent activity, but, yeah, but I think we will be having a good discussion about all this in 2024 about waste, and because we're gonna start seeing it, even if we care about our budgets, the sustainability of our budgets, we talked about in the strategic plan. It's gonna impact the town, because we're paying haulers to take our trash away, and it's really gonna start going up in the next 2 to 3 years, because there's nowhere to send it except Pennsylvania, New York State landfills.
We already saw an increase in last year's budget from both the town side and the Board of Ed side in
It's gonna keep going up.
disposal.
Yeah, and that's with Mira still operating, so my understanding is it's just gonna get really, really expensive, so. So that's why the more we can pull out of the system, the better. So we don't have a municipal trash collection in town, so, we have private haulers, but that's gonna be a price increase for obviously customers, and then we're a customer. So, and I know as you said, we've seen it in town, and that's been a problem, but anyway. So with that, then I guess all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, item number 14 passes. Number 15 is discuss draft revised charge for the ad hoc affordable housing committee. And so, I think in your packet was included she's just gonna talk about it. Did we get the actual?
Yes,
Oh,
We got
did.
a draft.
We
of
didn't
the
have it
ordinance, yeah.
last week. though.
we got it today.
We got it today, I missed that, okay. So I know Aaron is here to talk about this, and I think we might have some representatives from the Affordable Housing Committee. And one of the things when we set this up is we didn't make it a permanent committee because we knew we were going through the charter review process, and so it was gonna have to be reordinanced. And as you know, any committees now, boards and commissions in town have to be are formed under an ordinance now with the new charter. So we're gonna be bringing a bunch of these forward in the next couple of months where we might, rewrite some of the things, make some tweaks to it. But this is one I know that they were eager to get done to make it a permanent committee. So I will turn it over to Aaron. And it looks like Bennett's here from the Affordable Housing Committee.
We can't hear you now.
I can't hear you.
That's because I didn't unmute. I'm sorry. Rookie move from the car. Okay, so I did send out the draft language. This went through the Affordable Housing Committee, and I'm not sure, Jacqueline, who from the committee is here, but I could briefly highlight the changes from their ad hoc charge and what's being added here. So they're keeping the same, the draft is to keep the same number of regular members, 7, and actually their purpose is literally from their existing charge, their existing mission. Nothing has changed there. Under memberships, the only thing that's not included are any alternates because none exist currently. So I guess that's a question whether or not you'd like to have alternates added. But we kept the same general characteristics for desirable membership as the existing charge, and just staggered their appointments so that everybody wasn't reappointed in the same year, and identified how vacancies will be filled in accordance with the new town charter. Also identified town departments and staff who have expertise in the area. Both my department, Youth and Family Services, and Senior Services, for example, can serve as advisors, and we currently do, to the Affordable Housing Committee. The election of officers, the ad hoc committee did have the chair being appointed by the Board of Selectmen. That language I did change to be consistent with the charter and the election of a chair and a vice chair from their membership. So that language is basically from section 8.5 of your charter, our charter. And the duties and responsibilities, the only changes, this is almost mirroring exactly what the committee's current charge is. The first bullet point, serving in an advisory committee, the additional language that was added was relevant town departments. That was at the recommendation of the committee, and would be in addition as they're researching opportunities for grants and other funding sources, and potential partners for public-private development. So that's the third item. And under number 4, the fourth bullet, create an inventory of suitable affordable housing sites in Madison that currently exists. The committee thought it was important to also identify potential available property that's owned by the town. Other than that, the charge is pretty much identical to the ad hoc committee's charge. Do you have any questions?
A couple.
Do it.
I think the document would benefit from a definition of affordable housing units. Since its main purpose is to increase the number of affordable housing units, and affordable housing is a term that can mean different things to different people. So just a simple definition, I think, would be a
Okay.
good document.
Could I, is it appropriate, Aaron, for me to speak, or Peggy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would it suffice to reference as defined in the approved affordable housing plan?
I am thinking of the sort of the casual reader who may not go back and forth to reference documents. So to the extent that the plan takes the effort to define it, just picking that definition up and repeating it would be fine.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's not a simple thing to accurately define without making people's head explode, but sure, we could do that because of the technical requirements under the statute, right? 80% of the area and median income, paying no more than 30% of their income, deed restricted, or blah, 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 blah. So if you want it to be accurate, or you want just a simple layperson version that doesn't have all the details, we could do either or both.
I would keep it. I would keep it as simple as possible. And you've struck on it. You don't see your mission as a state or municipal subsidized rent-free type of housing here. You're talking about what sometimes we call about is it working class. They're income driven deed restricted properties, meaning you have to have an income to do it. So I think people that I see in the street hear affordable housing and they think Section 8. And that's not what we're talking about, unless I've missed something. So
Can
we-
certainly add a definition, not a problem.
Maybe it's a definition and pointing, Bennett, to exactly what you said, pointing to the plan as well. I think it's both. So it's simple definition, but I would also, for the detailed.
We do have, and we do have an approved town plan policy submitted to the state. That's what we're operating under.
Yeah,
sure.
it's a chicken pie, for sure.
And then maybe just a little bit of a discussion around the bullet that you talked about, Aaron, create an inventory of suitable affordable housing sites in Madison, including potentially available town property. You know, what would qualify as a suitable site?
Right. Well, that was a question that came up during the plan writing process, where this committee is charged with coming up with criteria to determine what's suitable. So, and that step has not taken place yet, but it's a stepping stone to begin, an inventory. So, I think some of that would be the ability to support infrastructure, whether there are wetlands, things like that, how, buildable area, general location. That is one of the tasks of the committee currently. I think the Planning and Zoning Commission has discussed opportunity areas, things, we have some very rough idea of properties in town, not necessarily just for affordable housing, but just opportunities for redevelopment or underdeveloped sites, things like that. I think maybe the goal of calling the town properties in is this hopefully some type of future partnership or discussions between the committee with the facilities committee as well, to kind of understand as the town is making decisions on properties and how to use them, that at least the need for housing is considered at that time.
But would this list be exhaustive once the guidelines are defined, or is this something that could and should evolve over time?
I think it should evolve. I think it should evolve. I would think. So we haven't really. I don't think the committee has really dove into that aspect of it yet, of going out and looking at properties. The last 6 or 8 months of the committee have really been understanding what affordable housing is, learning from folks coming in who are considered experts in the field, and really, they're not looking to jump into identifying or calling out potential properties when there's so much to understand about funding and uses and having public involvement as well in making those decisions. So that has not been a step that has been jumped into just yet.
So, and I apologize because I missed this morning. I guess I've been getting caught up because I was out of town, so I missed the draft charge. But a lot of this was in the plan itself, right? These were the tasks that were given as part of the follow-up to the plan, right? So I'm just wondering, rather than having these things in charge yourself, maybe it's just too specific to have in the charge, because the plan is really kind of the document, the living document that they're working through and doing, rather than making this a charge for the committee. So I'm just wondering, because before I think we just had literally to execute and this isn't a markup, so I can't remember. It was pretty much
the adopted charge of the ad hoc committee specifically includes create an inventory of suitable affordable housing sites in Madison. That is in their current charge.
And that was taken though from the plan itself, right?
Well, it was a combination. It was a combination of action items from the plan and some of the model communities who have had very successful affordable housing committees. One of which is Fairfield, was one of the models, and that was when the town went through the process of creating a plan. That was the guidance documents that came from the state did recommend looking into Fairfield and a couple of these other, might be Mansfield was another one, that were that have been, successful and in existence for well over a decade.
Because I guess I'm looking at this chart as something that's gonna be around for like 10 or 20 years, right? So the less, like, to me, it's more than maintaining this list. It's gonna be an obligation of the committee for the next 20 years or however long the committee exists. It's under this ordinance to do this. So I was looking at it more like you want to be big picture in the charge, but the plan gives all these action items to follow up on. That's all. So
I think you make a good point. I think you make a good point that having some of the specific tasks in the ordinance would just force us back into a revision of the ordinance sooner rather than later.
It's restrictive.
right, yeah. So it should be more, because these are going to be tasks that will be expected then. So 10 years from now, it's not just create, it's maintain, right? Because properties are going to get bought and sold or changed over.
Right.
Some aren't going to be appropriated anymore. Some,
That was sort of my point of the list too.
Yeah.
The list is going to evolve.
yeah.
Right.
So that's what I'm just thinking.
Does
I think
seem-
less specific, and then the committee controls its tasks. It says, here's our overall charge, and then we create the tasks that we're going to do that. But if you want this as a ongoing requirement to maintain a list, then I would say, okay, keep it in there, but it should be created, it should be maintained. And the report every year, if you want that, it's gonna be an obligation that's gonna happen for 10 years or 20 years. So I would just kind of make it more high level, what do I have to do every year
Point
type
to
of
the plan.
stuff. And then the plan and the task list would be more developed by the committee as what they're gonna be, how they're gonna be spending their time. That's my thought. And I apologize, because I know this came out this morning. I missed it in my email, I guess.
Well, I think the first bullet should stay in duties and responsibilities. That's an enduring one. I think the last bullet
Yeah.
is an enduring one. And then all the other ones are up for discussion to the extent that they're covered in the plan itself.
Okay.
I did have one other question.
Sure.
Under the membership terms and vacancies, I guess the first question is why the last paragraph talking about town departments serving as advisors? I'm not sure. I don't understand why we needed to call that out. And Youth and Family Services didn't jump out at me as a quick fit to this committee. So what was the thinking behind calling them out?
So Molly Fahey has been a liaison. This, I think, was the way, and we kind of, this language we initially drafted an ordinance format, I think, to, as all of these committees now have to be adopted by ordinance. We started this with the Coastal Resiliency Commission and added this language. And I've just tried to keep every draft consistent with the language in the committee. And really, it's because most committees have liaisons, and I don't know if we want to call out a liaison, because staff really is there to assist the committee, and it's usually I guess the Board of Selectmen, and Jen currently serves as the board's liaison to the committee. So I think that's why we just had that we could serve as advisors, or I don't know, a resource maybe is the word. I'm open to suggestions on the word. I think that was really what it was just to be there to assist and help guide the committee. In my department, clearly, because we deal directly with affordable housing, but just senior services as well. Molly Fahey serves as the I guess, a similar capacity as Heather Noblin does for seniors. So anyone who is needing social services under the age of 65, that covers under youth and family. And so there really is a need there as well. And Molly has been a great resource to the committee. So that's why youth and family was included in that. Your initial ad hoc committee charge also indicates, so there everybody's called out as a liaison, myself, Heather, and the youth and family rep, and also indicates a representative from the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance. We have not had a representative from Board of Finance join in with the committee, but as I said, Jen has been attending and serving as the Board of Selectmen liaison. So it's really up to how you'd like to see that written, or what role you see staff having with the committee.
I just think it's.
I'm just reacting to it. Doesn't bother me. I think it's good to call out the liaisons. Just again, it's a living document that's going to be out there for 20 years. So year 18, wouldn't it be great to know that we need a liaison from Madison Youth and Family Services to participate on this committee? So I guess that it doesn't bother me.
No, I think it's important, we could change departments.
Yeah.
From now, it's more getting those skill sets, people that
Yeah.
have connections, so. And that to me is the way it's worded in here, it's loose enough, it's just a suggestion, really. Staff having particular expertise may serve as advisors, so.
Not saying they must.
Yeah, and then there can be other staff members who have expertise.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think you could strike everything in the parentheses and and then it would just be whatever town department was needed. It just struck me that we're calling out 3 specific ones, and
there may be others.
And
Yeah, there could be others, so.
and there could be other, yeah.
And that
So
could change too.
I don't strongly object to it. This was a question.
Yeah, totally.
This was it. Just
Totally.
like, well,
But I think we could do that, we could
No,
just
good.
eliminate the parentheses, the calling out specific departments.
and then to Aaron's point, is this sort of boilerplate that we want to make sure we put into every committee ordinance that we do, so the language is similar. I think it's redundant. I can't imagine a committee would go to a town resource and say, we need your help, and they would say, well, I'm not in the ordinance, so you're on your own. I don't think that would ever happen, but if we want to put it in there, then we should start to develop some of those consistent boilerplate pieces that are going to be in everything.
We definitely don't have.
Because we're going to be doing a lot of these,
Yeah,
right?
no, you're
Yeah.
right, it's a fair point. And I think it's really then just appointing, that I would be directing certain staff to work with certain committees. Unless it's actually like the Beach and Rec Committee or Senior Services Committee, so you would have to have the departmental staff.
Do we need to have wording in here about liaisons?
I think that is, more, I don't think it needs to be.
Not in the charge. I don't think it's in the charge.
Because we don't have liaisons for every board and commission. Clearly, our board has to decide what ones.
And sometimes it changes depending on priority and all that.
And it's at the discretion of the board,
Yeah.
the ones that we do.
Yep,
Right.
I agree.
Okay. So, I don't know if we resolved, I guess the plan was to talk about this and then have another, and then vote on it at this meeting. So I don't know if you want to make some, under the duties, is that what we kind of decided, that we want to have it less specific and more to, come back with some just suggested changes to that section?
Sure. I think Bennett and I could bring your comments back to the committee on Wednesday and have them take a look through and send it back to you.
Yeah, and then we can just
Can we just get clarity on what, other than the definition of affordable housing, you want to see changed? Because I wasn't able to fully follow your discussion around having the assistance of the named town departments.
I think it's just deleting the town departments and just keeping it less
In
specific.
parentheses.
Just get rid of the
Would it
parentheses.
be possible, because in this case, the departments named are really essential and have the most direct hands-on experience with the housing situation. would it be possible to say, have the assistance of relevant departments, including and name those three? Would that satisfy?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly taking away the parentheses doesn't exclude them for participating, it just allows for a broader, which is the intent of the statement anyways.
We don't want to be exclusive. We
Right.
want to be inclusive.
Right.
You like that?
Was there anything else besides those two then?
The duties and
The
responsibilities.
duties and responsibilities.
Yeah, we thought that the first bullet and the last bullet should stay. And then in between, maybe point and reference the plan. Working,
Forgive me 1 second. I just want to make sure I'm staying up with you. Duties and responsibilities. Right, that's where we're,
right.
is that where the definition is going?
The definition's going in that opening
In the
paragraph.
Opening
purpose.
paragraph. Okay, so what are we doing in the first bullet of the duties and responsibilities?
Stay.
First
Leaving it.
bullet, keep as is.
I'm sorry?
Stay. Leave it.
The first bullet stays as is.
Okay, and which bullet is then being worked on?
2, 3, and 4. They're going to be, we're going to look to do a little less specific and seeing what's specifically identified in the plan, to leave the description of duties a little more high level and a little broader. So
Okay.
that will allow the committee to establish, the task list and details for plan updates.
Okay.
Pointing more to the plan as opposed to.
I don't want to waste your time here, but I don't think by and large there's anything in the plan that's going to cover bullet 2. Is that a problem to leave in?
I didn't have 2. I think it's more 3 and 4 because those are like really specific tasks. And I don't think that's, the question then becomes, you got to maintain this, if 10 years from now, is this even going to be relevant for what we're talking about? If we built a bunch of, so we want to keep these as high level and something that we would sustain over a long period of time. So I think 2 is fine. It's just input. And, but I think 3 and 4 are really specific to the tasks that you would do as your committee through the plan. So I would argue, 3 and 4 would be, are already covered by the affordable housing plan.
Which is actually well stated in bullet number 1.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for coming, Bennett.
Yeah, and if you need to, if you want to have a further conversation, offline more, I'm happy to chat with you.
Great, thank you.
So we also do the attack that because now I've got the
Bicycle.
Okay, great. So item number 16 is discuss draft revised charge for the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. This is another one that we have to reordinance, and so it's just tough if there's not a red line on this to know. So you want to highlight?
So, yeah, really the charge of the existing committee is roughly a paragraph. It calls out the number of members, 9 regular members and 2 alternates to serve for a 2-year term. The purpose that we did was, or that was drafted, was really a merge of the existing charge and the complete streets policy. So it was a lot of the reasons for adopting the complete streets, almost verbatim, for the purpose of having this committee. The Bike Ped committee is responsible for assisting in the implementation of the complete streets policy. The format of this ordinance is the same as the affordable housing, going through the 9 regular members. Having the odd number broke it into 3 3-year terms instead of 4-year terms. That I think is all really up to however the board would like to see the committee, did you want to have 4-year terms and
Yeah, I
you
think
know.
that's a fair, I think we want consistency because it's, I think.
I like the 4 years also. I just couldn't figure out off the top of my head how you want to break it out between the 9. But we could stagger them easily, just so that everybody's not coming up at the same time.
Yeah, I
Is
think
9 the right number?
I know, 9 seems big.
big.
9 seems like a lot of.
Plus
people.
alternates.
Yeah, and they're fully seated now.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that.
Then let's make the appointments for life.
Yeah.
I love it.
They all hate.
I would err on making this 4-year just because I think
Okay.
consistency is better for all the boards and commissions.
Okay, we could rework that.
And then if
The rest of it
is 9, we don't want to kick anybody off, so I guess we'll stay with 9. It just seems like a big, it's popular now, but 5 years from now, it might be,
So could we future-proof it by saying,
Through attrition.
7.
well, no, 5 to 9 or something like that? Say, it can, no fewer than 5, no more than 9 with alternates.
I like that.
That's a great idea.
And then if we
Yeah.
do see some retirement,
Right,
we're not in crisis mode.
trying to fill.
Okay.
Like wastewater management, whatever it is. Well, it's got 0 people
Yeah.
on it.
That's a good idea, actually.
Okay, I like that. The rest of the language under membership terms and vacancies is the same. The town departments with staff having expertise. Currently, the engineering department, Rob Russo staffs the committee. I've been attending as well. And the police department has Officer York also staffs the committee. So that's why they were specifically called out. But again, we can just eliminate what's in the parentheses if that's the direction we want to move.
To keep it consistent, I think that probably makes sense.
Sure. And then the duties and responsibilities, the existing charge of the committee is to develop this bike ped master plan, and then essentially be the advocates for, bringing that plan to life in town. So keeping checks and balances basically on the implementation tasks once this plan is adopted. And John came before you, I think, at your last meeting or the one before that, and kind of gave you an overview of what their goals are moving forward. So a lot of these items specifically address that.
It's funny, I read these duties and responsibilities. It's like, this is kind of a nice way to do what you have to do, what your responsibilities. And then, the other things, it's almost like you could do the same thing for affordable housing. I like that.
Sure.
Because it refers to the plan, you can refer to the affordable housing plan, implementing the affordable housing plan, providing an annual report, right? And then may engage community members, seeking grants, and that's something that's not right now in the affordable housing, but there might be grants like the CDBG type grants and stuff that we could go after on behalf of affordable housing.
Yeah, I have a feeling that a lot of those duties in the affordable housing are included in the plan. So I'm going to take another look at that because I do think I recall quite a bit of that.
But since you're on that, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the committee being able to accept donations. That runs specifically through this board.
Yes. And that was the request.
Acceptance, just put the word recommend, because a lot of times people will come and say, I want to fund your bike rodeo, right? They'd have to come to the board. But
if somebody wanted to make a donation towards yes, either helmets or an event or something like that. And that's where the committee did come forward and say, what is the best mechanism for this? Do any of the, and I think, and it could be the parks that may have, get this a little more than other committees, but who, like the dog park, if somebody wanted to make a donation towards that, what was that, however that mechanism was established through the board and through finance, that's really kind of the direction they were looking to go in case somebody wanted to donate towards, yes, an event or some type of
I think you could just add
education.
on there, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen at the end of that bullet.
Because I think about how the Board
Yeah.
of Ed does it, there's people that make donations all the time to the school system, but the donation cannot be accepted by the school until it's been approved by the Board of Education. So, central office just can't accept it without approval of Board of Ed. So I would look at this as being a similar.
Yeah, it's governance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you can just add a simple at the end of that statement. With the approval of the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that is, conduct research. I mean, this is all, so I'm generally good with this. A few weeks.
So, and then this is a bit of a tangent, but since we've got two drafts in front of us.
Yeah.
One of them is provide an annual plan, and one of them is to report to the board within 60 days, of January of the new year.
I think they need to be synced up.
And so
Sure.
this is another piece of boilerplate that we want to do.
Report. I think
And I'm not sure an annual report.
Oh, that is required. That's required through the Complete Streets policy, I believe. They're required to provide an annual report to you. And that's why that language was added.
Coming to the Board of Selectmen and updating us, it's actually writing a document.
And that's,
Right.
which is fine.
Yeah.
There's an end then.
That's all fine.
There's
But
an
then-
end, it's a reporting.
But I think maybe we want to segregate some of these commissions, boards, and say, okay, this group we want to hear from every quarter, this group we want to hear from twice a year, this group once a year is going to be plenty.
Yep.
And incorporate that into the ordinances that we draft. So have a blank for how often they're going to report back to us, but have a provision in there.
I would almost make it at least once a year. And then it's the board's discretion if you want them to come back more than that, right? So every board or commission should do a report to us once a year.
At least once a year.
Well, I agree that would be the bare minimum. I'm just imagining one that we would say, maybe we'd like to see it twice a year.
Yeah.
And we set that expectation in
Sure.
the ordinance.
Like right now, I
Okay.
I would argue that would go to the ordinance because some boards, you're gonna need that quarterly or monthly because a lot's going on, but then 2 years from now, it's like, we don't need these people coming in every month. You know what I mean? I think it just depends on what level.
Timing of
activity
where
is
they are in
going
the
on.
process.
Yeah.
Which just means it would be an executive report that would be very, very quick. It would just.
Somebody
be a
sending an
simple touch.
email or
It
whatever.
would be it would just be a simple touch, yeah. So if we don't want to put it in the ordinance, then we should strike both references.
I like this idea of the at least once a year.
Yeah, that we
So
get
at
some
least
sort
sets
of
the
report every year.
expectation in
Yeah.
the charge. That's the point of the charge, right? If we want to set expectations, they should be coming in front of us to present.
And I think a lot of boards want to come in front of us, but, they don't know what to do, you know what I mean? But now we can say, no, each of you, pick a time during the year that you think is relevant and we'll get you on the agenda.
Or maybe
Yeah.
we should just set a schedule for them. And say, in January, this is who we want to see in February, because we can't see all of them in one.
No, yeah.
Yeah, like I've never seen the Shellfish Commission, so.
So
or they've got
maybe,
some-
because we're gonna be talking about scheduling,
Yeah,
maybe we want to look at the 12 evening schedules and say, okay, these are
These are the 12 boards. we
these
wanna hear
are
from.
the 12
Yeah.
updates that we're gonna
Yeah,
want to
that's
see
great.
during the year.
I love that.
yeah, I like it.
And I think the annual report is required by every committee currently, right? And that gets put into one, that's a written document that's put into our annual reports. I think Jacqueline just sent out that email reminding everybody that they have to provide that. So they're
Not necessarily
No, no, I
this
agree.
plan.
Still good conversation, yeah. All right, we good on this one?
Okay, good, great. Well, we'll just take another crack at it on the next meeting. Sound good?
Yep,
okay, good. Thank you
Great.
all.
Yeah,
thanks.
thank you.
Drive safe.
Thanks.
For Austin's. Okay. Discuss and take, item number 17, discuss and take action to award a contract between the town of Madison and Stantec for engineering services for the Exchange Field project in the amount of $80,000 and to authorize the first selectman to sign all necessary contracts and documents.
So moved.
Second. So this is a project that has been in CIP for quite a bit. We're excited to see it move forward.
Yes.
And this is just
Yeah, so
yeah.
just engineering services, to help us, permitting.
And I know people are excited to get this moving, so,
About time.
yeah. Any further questions for Austin?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, great. Passes unanimously. Item number 18, discuss and take action to award a contract to the town of Madison and Westcott and Mapes for engineering service for Nelson Field Lighting Project in the amount of $22,300 to authorize the first selectman to sign all necessary contracts and documents.
So moved.
Second.
And this is,
This is just phase one.
wait, this is from ARPA, right? So this fiscal year 20, okay. Yeah, I gotta talk to Jacqueline about getting, because, so that was an ARPA project that we supported. So, any other questions? No?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so you're done, all that. Thank you. Discuss and take action to approve the 2024 meeting schedule, which once again, I didn't look at it, I just figured out to approve it. Board of Selectmen meeting schedule for student related break, also presidential primary.
Our only issue was Valentine's Day.
That was on the budget workshop. This is the Board of Selectmen meeting schedule we're doing right now. And she highlighted a couple things that April 2nd moved up because of April break. Yeah. And primary is the next week too, I guess, right? So last Monday in April was like Passover, so we moved the April, so we have a big gap in April. Is that good with everybody? Yeah, it's fine by me. Yeah. And then to avoid the budget referendum, Tuesday the 7th, Monday the 20th, the third Monday to avoid Memorial Day. Yeah. So is everybody good with these changes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we got a schedule, so we're good.
We can always do it.
Right. And then the
This is called a stake in the ground.
the budget workshop calendar, I think the Board of Finance opted not to. They kept it.
Okay, which one? On
Board of
Valentine's?
Finance.
On
But I don't
Valentine's
think
Day?
they realized, and I said this to Stacy, this is all the boards coming together, so it's
I'm not
also the
doing
Board
that.
of Education, but they decided to keep
Scott's
it,
out.
so.
I'm out on Valentine's Day.
So,
Not
okay.
happening.
All right, but they went ahead and approved it. So, well, I'm just saying, you can miss the meeting.
You really want to set the example that we want to have a meeting on Valentine's Day?
We've done it before,
Lame.
so.
Yeah. We don't love our spouse. Romantic night.
It is a Wednesday, so, it's also at 6 o'clock, so get out of there. That's just where they present their, it's usually an hour meeting anyway. And it is Zoom.
So night of
So,
the week is Wednesday. We couldn't do Tuesday. We couldn't do.
well, I don't know. I mean, this is a lot of different schedules.
Jacqueline, there was no way to change that one?
Board of Ed and Board of Finance is fine with it. I think it also has to do with the, oh, I'm just looking now.
Board of Ed's probably on the 13th is my guess.
There are
It
two.
has to do with then the final action the next week. I think like the week before. It just happens, I think, with the holidays. This was just kind of how it. I mean, I don't know. Stacy, I just talked with Stacy. She had said that Board of Ed and Board of Finance was fine with the 14th. So, and it's a regular Board of Finance meeting night.
Presentation by the Board of Ed, and it is a hybrid, so if people have.
Yeah,
And, because they have a board meeting that night anyway, that's the other.
right.
Next meeting's that Wednesday night, so their meeting's at 7, so it'll be an hour. So, and it is hybrid, so, so I think they said, well, we're still gonna have a meeting anyway, so.
We get no say on the Board of Ed budget anyways.
Right, it's true.
We get no say.
Yeah, we don't, Board of Selectmen doesn't.
I said we boycott.
Well, you can just have it on Zoom. All right, so any other comments about this?
No.
I don't think I stole it.
Beat it
It's
down,
close
it's
enough,
there.
but it is what it is, so, with that, all in favor, say aye. Aye, all right, got that done. Discuss and take action to approve the 2023-2027 Board of Selectmen Liaisons assignments. Listen here, I think we're just, are we doing did anybody want to do changes? We don't have to vote tonight if there is a desire to swap some things around. We could always do this at the next meeting, Tuesday.
Do we still have the art funding committee?
No, is that on here?
That's still on there
Yeah,
for
that's-
myself and for Al.
Yeah,
But you
that's
should
off.
attend anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Got 100%.
On Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Well, and then we have.
You don't have affordable housing on there.
Yeah, affordable housing isn't on here, which I'm
Yeah.
currently liaison.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. Sorry, I saw your email. I hadn't had a chance to revise it.
See, it's still under my name.
I like it that way.
Yeah.
So why don't we finalize this at the next meeting, okay? Because I haven't really looked at this either, and I want to make sure we're capturing, and is there other ones we want to, do we want to mix it up a little bit, you know? Because some of these people have been on quite a while.
I keep coming back to two questioning with some of these. Are liaisons required? So I think to me, that's the conversation we should be having, and we're spending a lot of time in
Yeah.
meetings and subcommittee meetings. You know, I think some of them don't require us to go every single meeting, but I still think our time is valuable too, and let's make sure we're not putting a liaison where we don't need one.
I think it's important to have.
Hashtag
for-
personal time.
No, I mean, I hear what you're saying, because it is kind of like there's a lot of other committees that there is no liaison for, right? And I also think the expectation of people to sit through every one of these meetings is a lot to ask, like, zoning, for example.
And follow up.
Yeah.
with the chair.
But I think there's
Yeah.
merit though in
So-
having a conversation about the role of the liaison too, because I still think you can have an email exchange, a phone conversation with the chair
Right,
of that particular, and get the back and forth
right,
without necessarily having to sit in on a 3-hour meeting.
right.
Mhm.
So I think there's creative things that I've done already and how I get my reports that may or may not require me to sit in on a 3-hour Board of Ed meeting. You saw me, sometimes I went, sometimes I didn't, many times I didn't, but I still got the
They were very
updates.
excited.
They were very exciting, but I think there's creativity we can apply here that still gets the same output.
Well, and I think that you found that, I think it's really up to the liaison to figure
Yeah.
out how.
How you work with that
how
board.
you work with
Yeah,
that board.
yeah.
I also think we should look at this list and say, what are the things that have a lot going on? And those are kind of priority things where we want to make sure we have that connection,
Mhm.
right? And I just haven't put enough thought in this. This is just kind of the list we had.
Well, the big ones, candidly, I mean, I think Al, you're shouldering a big load for us
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now, but it's the
Right.
school and academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2 building committees are big for us
Those
right
are-
now.
And actually, that's not even, no, Bruce is
Yeah,
this new
I'm
school.
liaison for the new.
Yeah.
Your new school, yeah.
Oh, and we can get rid of Bruce's ad hoc marijuana
Marijuana
advisory
advisory
too.
committee too, so. All right, why don't we all think about this and then, you know, I'm also just saying, I think in some ways there's some value to moving things around a little bit so that, you know, if you've done, like, I don't know how long, Bruce, you've done the ambulance, for example, or Scott, that you've done youth and family.
Actually, he hasn't, because I haven't, so we did
Yeah.
make some changes.
Okay, yeah, I just don't, I mean, there has been some evolution, I just don't know for sure, like how the longevity of it. So think about it, we can do some emails back and forth, and then, I think, oh, here's the no formal liaison assignments. We can talk about it on the 5th, which is next week.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you just do one thing about CIP? Because the meeting is tomorrow. So
Yeah,
I know the next item is the public member, but there does need to be a Board of Selectmen liaison member
Well,
for
we
CIP.
don't vote on liaisons, I didn't think. I thought we just kind of.
Two members.
Yeah, currently it's Al and myself for CIP.
I'm totally fine with that. Aren't you, Bruce?
I insist.
We got to scale.
Did we draw a short straw?
No. No,
That's what I did it for 6 years.
That's the most prestigious committee you can be on.
Yeah, it's actually the one that you learned the most. About.
No, I agree. I'm happy to be on it, to be fair.
It's a really good one.
No, it is, and it is, you know, time consuming in a limited period of time.
Yep,
So
agreed.
there's like 2 months of intensity in there. So, so let's, okay, the rest of these, like, I'm also like, do we need to vote? Because otherwise, can we just swap it up, you know, because I have to
don't think
vote
we
on
need
it.
to vote
I don't
on
think we do
Yeah,
either.
I don't either.
So.
Totally agree.
Because then we might, in 6 months, say, you know what, you might have another commitment on the one night that the library,
Correct.
right? And
Yep.
then we swap with somebody,
Yep.
so. Okay, so we'll revisit this at the next meeting, but CIP is confirmed. And then we have to appoint this public member, which is item number 22, and I think Joan was our public member last time, and she was
Joan
willing to do
and
it.
Jude. Joan was the Board of Selectmen member according to the website, and Jude was the public.
Board of Finance person.
No, Jude, maybe,
She
yeah,
can't
maybe
be
she
now,
was.
because
Yeah,
So
she
Joan
can.
was our public person.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Jude was the Board of Finance.
So
public.
we
Yes.
need a new public member. So we don't have a public member, so we're gonna have to come up with a public member. So, but Joan, is everybody okay with Joan being?
Does she still want to do it?
Did you talk to her?
I think she is willing to do it, yeah.
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 Okay. So if maybe for the 5th, I know they're starting this week, but I know, you know, if I.
it's a public meeting, she can go.
Yeah,
That's true.
So even if it's not, even if we haven't, or we can do the vote tonight.
And we
I
can
don't
undo
care.
it the next.
no, we're talking about, we also need a public member that's just a general random public, or is it our appointment?
No,
I think
no,
this
no,
is just, I think all we're talking about tonight is our appointment of a
Okay,
public member
okay,
from the Board
all
of
right.
Selectmen.
So,
Each
Oh,
Board
because
of, Board of Ed
Finance.
sends one and
right,
Board of
That's
Finance.
right.
I
sends
get this
one.
every time,
Yep.
it's just kind of a.
Three
Okay.
public members.
So I guess we could just appoint her pending her acceptance of the appointment.
I'm sorry. Is Joan the Board of Ed liaison though?
No.
Oh, no, Joan is Board of Ed,
Oh,
public.
Yes.
Laura,
Laura
Jude.
Laura
was-
Downs.
No, who's Laura Downs then? We don't-
Laura Downs was the Board of Finance.
She's Board of Finance,
Okay.
Jude was ours.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't focus on. I
Jude
tried to
is
take a
on-
week
Jude is
off.
on the Board of Finance.
So-
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
website.
So we have to find somebody.
We have to find
Yeah, we
somebody.
have to
that's-
find somebody.
I appoint Stacy.
Can we appoint Joan first because they haven't done it yet? And she could be ours?
Oh, man. All right, so on Tuesday, we will appoint somebody. Okay?
Next Tuesday,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, so they'll miss the first meeting this week, I think, so this is fine. So, and
Sorry,
they're
we
not a
thought we
voting
had
member,
somebody.
they're just there in, you know, to be a voice, but they don't vote on CIP, so,
Right.
yeah. Okay, all right. Moving on, I guess with that, we'll move on to any citizens' comments, any hands raised, Jacqueline?
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna unmute. Just a first name is Jim.
Can you state your name and address, please?
Sure. It's Jim Schmaltz and Jonathan's Landing.
Great,
had a couple of questions before the town meeting on the geothermal.
It's just comment, Jim.
Yeah, just public comment. If you have specific questions on geothermal, I would recommend just emailing my office and we can get them answered that way.
Okay.
'Cause they might be specific that we might not have that information available now, so. Okay.
Okay. And then I also had a comment on the town website, the meeting minutes. There's quite a few that are missing. Especially on the Board of Police Commissioners, the majority of them from this year, there's no meeting minutes. Also there's no documents ever loaded into the agenda packets. And I believe that was something that was supposed to be done. So if we could take a look at that.
Yeah, I know that technically they only have to be filed with the town clerk's office, so you can get any meeting minutes for I know most boards do post them, and that is their practice. The police commission maybe only submits them to the town clerk's office, but I'll double check that. And in terms of the packets, we don't typically load up the packets.
Any particular reason why not?
It's just a lot of background information and things like that. They can be requested, anything in town, government can be requested as part of a FOIA request, but a lot of times we just have a lot of sometimes sensitive information and things like that that we don't put out on the website.
Okay, and then on the videos, a lot of the videos are missing and not labeled or mislabeled. It's really difficult. There's at least 5 different places to actually look for those.
Well, the videos are also, once again, something we offer to the public. We're going to come up with a retention policy. Right now, they're on the YouTube channel for the Board of Selectmen. With the transition back to the old agenda center, we're looking to actually have the links posted along with the agenda. So going forward, there's a long story about why it is the way it is, but you can find them all through the Board of Selectmen channel. And I agree, it's not organized well. It's just really staff ability and time to create, a more organized YouTube channel. And so what I'm trying to do is actually have it be linked on Zoom. It used to be Zoom, we were going to be charged to store the video, so that's why we were using YouTube. It's free. Now, I think another plan we're under with Zoom, they will hold the Zooms for us. So which means we could have a direct link to Zoom. So that's one of the things we're trying to figure out better. But we also need to have a retention policy because, how long are we going to hold on to videos? Because it's a huge data storage issue to keep these videos. But your point is taken. I know that there needs to be some better work done to organize things now that we're kind of in the 3rd year of doing a lot of hybrid meetings and remote meetings.
And why is the town meetings not Zoom? They have been in the past.
So we can't do voting remotely. We had one meeting where we did remote voting, and if anybody attended that, they know we never want to repeat that again. So town meetings you have to show up to vote. So we don't do remote access.
Is that something we can look into doing?
It's complicated, and because this is voting, so we have to identify who's there. We have to have ID shown. And to verify voters, and then people actually have to stay on. It's very difficult to monitor it if it's remote for voting. It's a lengthy process, and I will tell you throughout the state of Connecticut, it was a huge struggle. We were one of the only towns in Connecticut that actually operated a full remote town meeting during the pandemic. I think most towns have just shied away. If you want to attend a town meeting, you got to come. You got to show up and vote in person. So that's kind of how we had to move forward with that.
That makes it difficult for a lot of people, especially with kids. Only one parent can attend instead of two, so you're
Yeah, I understand that, but, you know, it's just a practicality of responsibility. If you're gonna attend, participate in a town meeting, you have to show up to vote. So with that.
well, I mean, we're
we can
doing
assume-
the board meetings and your people are remote doing that.
So, with all due respect, sir, I think, your point is taken, but usually these are just receiving comments from the public.
Okay.
The other hands raised, Jacqueline?
And one more, the public notice for this meeting coming up on Wednesday didn't have the topic or agenda in the paper.
Well, she publishes whatever I haven't looked at the actual notice, so I'll have Jacqueline check it.
Yeah, because it's in the charter, it's supposed to have the subject.
You know, Jacqueline will have to look at that and see if you followed the, I don't know what was posted, so I'll check.
It just said special town meeting, 6 o'clock, and that was it.
It usually has a bullet underneath to approve. So the notice.
It did not.
It did not, okay, and that was in the source?
Yes.
All right, I'll talk with her, that went out 2 weeks ago, I guess, when it was submitted. It usually always has item A or whatever, and lists what it is, so. I will look into that tomorrow.
Okay.
Anything else then? I guess we're done. Any other public comments? Going once?
Just quick,
Yeah.
Jim, if you were to email the town office, either Peggy directly or just Board of
Yeah.
Selectmen, that way we capture your email address so that when Peggy follows up, she knows how to get back to you.
Okay, any other hands raised?
No other hands are raised.
Okay, and hearing no objection, the meeting is adjourned. All right, thank you.